Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Dr. Jonathan Fowles, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the exercise science and training option. This is the information session following up on the introduction of the different options that you can do in your Bachelor of Kinesiology program that is already posted on our website. So the goal of today is just to give you a little bit more background into the exercise science and training option area so that you can make an informed decision about what program you may want to apply to on February 1st. So the primary options that we have identified, there is one in athletic therapy. There's also the exercise science and training practicum option. And most of these, or both of these programs typically have a minimum GPA of a 3.0. So they are kind of academically strenuous programs. And it's recommended that you have some experience in the given area when you are applying to the different streams if possible. The actual applications to the different streams, there are going to be some other information sessions in January, so some live information sessions January 14th, and then the applications will be February 1st, and then we do interviews in February and make offers before registration so that you can make some decisions. So you can apply to both, and you can rank order if you have preference to one or the other if you'd like, but today's session will help you to understand what each of the different areas and options are. So what is exercise science and training? Well, it's the area within kinesiology covering the professional application of your exercise physiology and fitness programming knowledge in practice for either generally healthy, high performance sport and occupations, and for individuals with either special considerations or chronic disease. There's a number of major professional certifying or regulating organizations that have standards in this area. And so the Canadian Society for Exercise Physiology is one that has a couple certifications, and those are the ones that we have integrated within our curriculum to be able to kind of parallel and match. However, the requirements for the CSEP, clinical exercise physiologist, for example, align very well with the other certifying and regulating bodies. There is the College of Kinesiology of Ontario, which regulates kinesiologists that have the scope of practice to basically do fitness assessment and exercise training in the areas that I've just outlined there. They're the only college in Canada that regulates the profession of kinesiology. So meaning that in Ontario, you can become a registered kinesiologist or an RKin. In other provinces in Canada, there are provincial kinesiology associations that you can, through the Canadian Kinesiology Alliance, be a kinesiology affiliate. And so you can still practice in that area, but it's not a regulated profession that might be, for example, integrated within healthcare or get billing purposes. But there is a greater recognition in each of these areas for the services of clinical exercise physiologists, clinical kinesiologists, practicing kinesiologists to provide services for the populations that I've identified, both in healthcare, out of healthcare, in communities, and in working with groups like the military is a major employer of practical areas in physiotherapy clinics and rehabilitation clinics, as well as testing and training with high performance sport or occupations such as the Coast Guard, for example. So like I said, we pattern a lot of our coursework after the CSEP certifications. There's a number of our faculty that are CSEP members, such as Dr. McCary, Dr. Murphy, myself, and a few others. And at the basic level, there is the CSEP certified personal trainer, and that's generally health-related fitness and personal training focus. And that one, as you'll see, can be attained through taking the fitness programming course and then challenging the external theory and practical exams. At the advanced level, which is a postgraduate certification, is the CSEP Clinical Exercise Physiologist, or CEP. And that again is primarily clinical populations, but it also has applications to performance and occupations, as you'll see. So the clinical exercise physiologist does advanced health and fitness. It's the advanced health and fitness practitioner certification, working with asymptomatic as well as symptomatic population. So the goal of this is to provide appropriate advanced assessment and exercise therapy to clients, including but not limited to those with musculoskeletal, neuromuscular, cardiorespiratory, metabolic conditions, and others. The key aspect is that you develop the scope of practice to be able to work with anybody. You also have the liability insurance to work with anybody. You're kind of like an independent contractor in that regard. And in that, you can accept referrals from licensed healthcare professionals and work in healthcare environments. It is really the gold standard in the industry, as the tagline for CSEP embodies there, the gold standard in exercise science and personal training, which is where we get the option from, the exercise science and training option. So for the clinical exercise physiologist, which is what we build that option to attain, there are 8 core competency areas. So most of these are provided through our core curriculum, but then there are some that are through the option curriculum specifically. So anatomy, biomechanics, exercise physiology, those are all core courses within our kinesiology program. Health behavior change is also our psychological aspects of physical activity, is a core course. And some of those are applied to, for example, our fitness programming course and other courses. Then some of the more specific courses are in client screening and pharmacology. We do have a pharmacology elective, although we do cover the required knowledge in pharmacology through some other courses in chronic conditions and assessment. Then there are the 4 kind of key courses or composite competency areas in advanced exercise and health assessment for apparently healthy, advanced exercise and health assessment for chronic conditions. And so that composite is through the 3393 physiological assessment course, in addition to the fitness programming course that builds on that. Then there's the advanced exercise prescription for apparently healthy, and that includes children, older adults, pregnancy, disability. So the fitness programming course 3343 in 3rd year kind of builds on that. Training methods builds on that in 2nd half, and then we apply that in the practicum in the 4th year. The advanced exercise prescription for chronic conditions, again, is introduced with the 4693 exercise in chronic conditions course, and then again we put it into practice in the practicum. There's a clinical practicum, but as well there's also some activity courses and experiences that you can get throughout your degree, and cardiac rehab with Dr. McCarry's activity course with older adults, the active aging, Acadia Active Aging program, for example, that runs all year. Then within the practicum course, we also cover professional and ethical practice, because that's a key competency for working as a professional in the area. So how do you become a CEP? Well, the key thing is that you take the preparatory coursework to have all the composite or competency knowledge. Then you need to have at least 100 hours of documented experience working in the different competency areas of like musculoskeletal conditions, neuromuscular, metabolic conditions, these kinds of things. But it's recommended that you get at least 300 hours of practical experience. So that's why we have the practicum over the 4th year, that you'll get at least 150 hours through that practicum in your 4th year. But we also do have this application process in second year to get you ready in third year. And so just like the athletic therapy program, there's kind of like a junior and senior intern or senior kind of practicum level there. So in your third year, you kind of get your feet wet, do some volunteering and cardiac rehab in some of our community programs. And then in fourth year, you do the regimented program within the practicum itself to bump up your hours and your experience. Then you would have to apply and challenge the external theory exam. So again, within CSEP, there is a theory exam and a practical exam. For the BKin, there's also an exam in Ontario, for example, that you could apply and challenge. Then once you're successful on those, above, I believe the cutoff is a 70% area on the theory exam, that there is registration. You have to have valid first aid and CPR, and you have to do professional continuing education credits. Then you pay your registration fee and also your insurance, and then you can become a practicing clinical exercise physiologist. One other area and certification that has been launched by CSEP, which is related to what many people are aware of, the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist from the US. CSEP has now developed the high performance specialization, and you can challenge this area through your CPT, which you might get through fitness programming, and then develop this advanced area in high performance, or you can also add it on to your CEP. So you can do it from either the CPT or the CEP to work in this area. And the high performance specialization, it is the first of its kind in Canada. It focuses on performance and occupational testing and training for qualified exercise professionals, working with elite athletes, emergency services personnel, the armed forces, and high performance clients. So the core competency areas here are sport and occupational biomechanics. Some of those are obviously covered within our core curriculum. And then sport and occupational performance assessment, we do cover that in our 3393 course. Sport and occupational performance exercise design and prescription is covered in our training methods course. And then some of the other things around professional and ethical practice are covered in an online module that you can do to challenge this exam. So then you would do the challenge theory exam and add that to your certification. So I listed off a number of courses, and so in this area, in the exercise science and training practicum option, this is where you have an interest in personal training, maybe cardiac rehab, therapeutic exercise. The key course that we're looking at, obviously, you have your anatomy, biomechanics, and then applied human physiology, which most of you will probably be in this semester. The resistance training course is an activity course. It's also important if you have that to apply to this area, although if you already have kind of extensive experience with resistance training, that's also beneficial. And we understand that this year in particular with the COVID environment that our activity courses haven't run, so we understand that some people may not have this, this course. Within the option itself, the key courses, there's 6 of them, so the fitness programming, and then that's first semester of third year. And then the second semester is the physiological assessment course, and as well training methods. We recommend that you take both of those in the second half of third year. So when you're registering for your third year courses next term, make sure you you have those in your sights for getting into the practicum. Then in your fourth year, that's where the 2 practicum courses, so the exercise science and training practicum 4193 is where we apply those in the generally healthy avenue. And then the second half is that 4203, the exercise science and training clinical practicum. And through both of those courses, you're doing experiential learning. We meet once a week in a seminar kind of format and do practical scenarios and challenge each other to develop our knowledge. This builds on the course, the 4693 Physical Activity and Chronic Conditions, which is first semester, fourth year. Like I said, there's a number of practical hours that you need to do per week, starting in your third year, and then building on that in your fourth year. And then externally, there's those practical assessments and written exams. There are some relevant elective courses that you may want to consider, such as the Acadia Active Aging course through the Physical Activity in Older Adults and the Physical Activity for Chronic Disease that Dr. McCary leads. There's, in complement to the resistance training activity course, there's the Speed, Agility, and Quickness if you're interested in that performance specialization. Second year, the Health Promotion and Wellness course is also a really good one that gives you a background and foundation in this area. A really good course is the Health Behavior Change course that Dr. Shields covers, because it really talks about the counseling aspects and motivational interviewing and key things that you'll use as a personal trainer and health coach for individuals. And then I mentioned that pharmacology elective that really helps when you're going into the clinical areas. You can take other courses relative to your interest that would fill your university electives in the program. So the application process is students can apply in their second year. Applications will be sent through KinStu and an email thread. We'll use a common application for both the athletic therapy and the exercise science and training options. If you're interested in applying to both, you won't be accepted into both, but when we're looking at applications, there may be some shuffling that might go along based on whether or not you're accepted into one program or the other. So if you really do want to apply to both, you can, but you do want to indicate which option is your preference. So again, the key important dates is that January 14th, we will do some live sessions. So hopefully this has given you enough information to kind of start to think about what it is that you want to do. And then you can come back in January with some questions. The 1 o'clock session will be the athletic therapy option. And then the 2:30 will be the exercise science and training option. Those will also be recorded. And that will give you enough time to put your application in for February 1st. And then we'll be doing interviews for shortlisted candidates after that. So again, these options are just that. They're options within your kinesiology degree, along with the other academic options for like kin with bio, nutrition, psychology, the honors program, and then there's other kind of streams. You don't have to do an option in order to be part of our kin program. If you are just doing our kinesiology degree, that is a great degree to have. This just provides some specific area of concentration in particular areas of expertise that might have relevance for people going on after the fact. So if you do have questions or details, you probably want to come to those information sessions in January. If you have further specific details, you can contact one of the exercise science and training program directors, myself or Dr. McCary, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the information session in January. Thank you.